Hello, hello. Welcome to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into some MGP whiskey, which I'm actually really freaking excited for. Let me get that adjusted. There we freaking go. How is everyone doing, by the way? I know last live stream, I was like, oh, I'm going to start doing this every week. And then the last week ran into some stuff, didn't end up having time to do it and whatnot. But this week, we are freaking good to go. So we're drinking some MGP whiskey tonight, which is fantastic. And I'm also a little boozed up because I just was on the live stream with the Bourbon Note, going over some of the brand I work with, Adventurous Stills in Arizona. If you're in Arizona, check them out. Final plug. But if you haven't seen that, go over there. Watch that live stream. It was absolutely a lot of fun. I'm a little boozed up, as you can tell, because of that, but super fantastic. Go subscribe to them because they're absolutely awesome. They're just about to hit 2K. So if I have any sort of power in the world, make that freaking happen. Let's go. Got Sugar Kitty in the house. Cheers, Sugar Kitty. We got Brian. Cheers. Nice to see you, man. Hanging. Yo. Hanging. You really got to come by the distillery soon. I am already drinking some Smoke Wagon. How you be drinking Smoke Wagon, but you haven't tried Lost Dutchman yet? Shame. 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 Sorry. All right. I'm done. Gotta remember to lick that like and lick that. It tastes like MGP and like Uncut Unfiltered. This isn't Uncut, or is this called Uncut Unfiltered? Yeah, Uncut the Younger. So basically, here, let me. Last piece. If you haven't checked out these Wisdom glasses, I mean, I don't have a link down below. I'm gonna do a review of them here in the near future. Another like glass review type thing, comparing that to Glencairn's and the Asian Ornate glasses. But those Whiskey Wisdom glasses, I just tried it for the first time last live stream. Man, I like that bad boy. So go check them out. But today we are reviewing or comparing the Smoke Wagon Uncut the Younger to Doc Swinson's Blender's Cut. And these are both kind of the blended MGP. So if you don't know, Smoke Wagon and Doc Swinson's, they both kind of are like two of the best names in blended MGP. I'm here for the Bourbon Note. Oh, thank you for coming in, Ryan. Nice to see you. Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic live. I hate that I was late to it because I could go forever with those guys. But so these two brands are basically like pinnacles of blending MGP. They're some of the best blended MGP I find that's available, because there are some stuff like Fourgate, all that other BS. Like they do ridiculous stuff, but it's not attainable for the masses unless if you want to spend $150 on a bottle of bourbon. So a lot of these places like Smoke Wagon and Doc Swinson's, they have available things, and these are kind of their available younger MGP blends. These are both around $49.99, and they're both around that 115-ish proof. This one is 57.59, and doing the math, carrying the 9, somewhere around 115. And this one is straight up 115 proof. Yeah, 57.5. And this is 57.59, so 0.09. So yeah, close enough. Same, but different, but still same. Either which way, I really like both of these, so I kind of wanted to do a head-to-head comparing them. And I'm also going to throw this Bad Mama Jamma in there because I haven't really gotten into it too much, because they sent me this Backbone Bourbon. I liked it. Didn't blow my mind per se. I wasn't like over the hills with it. It's a minimum of 4-year-old blended Backbone MGP bourbon. So also might add this into it. Haven't really decided if I'm going to add that in because I've already had way too much whiskey tonight, but we're going to add it in. We're 100% adding it in. Had a sample of Doc Swenson's Blenders Cut. Really liked it. Yeah, and again, I like all of these. These are all like $50 blended MGP higher proof whiskeys, but not too high proof. Like they're all just really freaking good. And new subscriber. Well, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that so freaking much. And anyone who's out there watching who hasn't subscribed to the Bourbon Note, go ahead and freaking do that. What are you doing with your life? Swenson's uses the numbers of source distilleries. Do they? Distilled in Indiana. So this, what I can say on that note, because I'm sure they do, because they have a bunch of different like exploratory casks and whatnot. Reading the back of this bottle, it says distilled in Indiana, meticulously. Here, I'll just read it. Meticulously blended and bottled by Distillers Way LLC, Ferndale, Washington. So I believe this bottle is solely MGP. I could be wrong, but I know a lot of their exploratory casks, though. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not all entirely MGP. Doc Swenson's and Sagamore also have the best finished MGP as well. Yeah, dude, those exploratory casks. If someone wouldn't mind dropping the link to my live stream where I reviewed their finished stuff, man, that's fantastic, because they sent me some samples of some of their finished stuff, and it was a fantastic live. I enjoyed every single pour they sent me, and they sent me some different finishes, like some really interesting stuff. Wild card. I love MGP. MGP might be my third favorite distillery. Yeah, man, I used to hate MGP, but now it's really became one of my favorite distilleries. Bourbon Note. Cheers, man. Nice to freaking see you again. It's been too long. We haven't talked in like 2 minutes. What is up? All right. So I'm going to pour these SOBs. We are going to get into these. And yeah, if someone, one of my mods, if y'all wouldn't mind dropping the link to Bourbon Note in here, as well as any other, live streams or anything else you'd like to plug. If it's not, OnlyFans, I'll let you plug anything but like things that go against YouTube guidelines, which I'm pretty sure OF does. Let's see. But the exploratory casts I have are all Indiana. Okay. Yeah, so maybe most of their stuff's Indiana, but Swenson says multiple lines. So yes, there are some all MGP and other various blends similar to BBC. The early ones had Beam Tote Whiskey. Okay. Huh. I would like to get some of their older stuff, because I have a lot of MGP single barrels, this Blender's Cut, and then I have the triple cask. I still need to get the finished triple cask, or the cask strength triple cask, but I just haven't gone around to purchasing that bottle because I'm trying to save up money, Life is a little difficult. So on these Glencairns, so I have 3 of my branded Glencairns, just because those are the few Glencairns I have a lot. I put little stickers on the bottom, and I like triple stickered it so I can't see from this side whether or not what label it is, because I had that issue on a previous video where it kind of influenced my decisions and I had to throw it out because of that. I was going to try to BS it, but it just didn't look right post-production. So I have ABC. Let me get my notebook. Ugh. Which, by the way, how's everyone doing tonight? What are we drinking? That's something I normally ask. Or what have we been drinking lately? I know we're like very deep in the summer. I'm in Arizona, obviously, so things are a little bit hotter here. But what's everyone drinking lately? What have we been vibing with, if you will? And then Backbone. All right, so the way I'm going to run it, I'm going to pour Smoke Wagon in A. I'm going to pour Doc Swenson's in a B. And C, I'm going to pour Backbone. And then I'm going to spin them around, read some comments, forget which one's which, and then we're going to go off to the races and compare them. One of the boys from the other Buffalo is here. Yes. Sipping on Yellowstone Select. I have yet to have any of their bourbon. I had their malt and I enjoyed it decently. It's not the most exciting American single malt I've had, but it'll play. Like it's doable, if you will. For the price point, the proof you're getting out of it, like it's a really solid deal because, like I said previously on the Bourbon Note live stream, like American single malts are expensive as hell. So the price point that's coming at is really nice. It's just not the most exciting one, but I'd be excited to try some of their bourbons. Just have yet to get around to them. Standard low proof wild turkey tastes good in the hot weather. Yeah, I've been drinking the what's it called? Oh man, I almost poured that. I've been drinking a lot of Elijah Craig. So Elijah Craig, Woodford Reserve, Wild Turkey 101's been kind of my mixer because I've been working at the bar bartending. So I've been kind of getting a little into like mixology. You know, I bought a shaker and shit for home, and I kind of got into that during Father's Day. And then I've also been getting into our low proof Blue Ridge from the distillery I work at because I'm a sucker for that, and I get an employee discount, so the bottle's even cheaper for me. All right, let's pour these bad Mama Jammas up. I really like the Wild Turkey 101 as a mixer, though. It's an underrated mixer. I never really put that together until recently. The Craig Alley 13 as a hot weather pour. Okay. Peter, is Scotch cheaper in your area than it is here in the US? Because I can't afford to daily drink Scotch. Scotch is like a Friday night pour for me because I can't get behind that. I like Larceny for summer as well. Yeah, Weeders really work out for the summer for me. So, like, for example, Maker's 46 seems to be a solid summer pour for me. Although I bought a handle of Elijah Craig small batch and a handle of the, why am I drawing blanks? The Woodford Reserve, and I'm really enjoying it. Like it's a very solid just sipper. Like low proof, approachable, easy, enjoyable, all that. Especially the Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig is like a 10 for 10 for me. Anyone who ever talks shit on Elijah Craig, I just can't get behind you because I think the Elijah Craig's fan freaking tastic. I don't know why people talk crap about it. Maybe my palate's broken, but I really enjoy those. Better light citrus for summer, and it's under Glencadam 10. I'll have to look into that because I wouldn't mind. So, like, kind of my summer scotch is Orchid House by Compass Box. I really like that one. Slipping on Dark Swinson's Arkansas single barrel. Man, those Doc Swinson single barrels are fantastic. I brought one home with me from Georgia because I just really enjoy it, and I saw it for like $50, and I was like, take my freaking money. Time now. Cracking the Blender's Cut tonight with a Craig 13 was on sale for 46. So yeah, that's fair. Oh man, what was that? Oh, so when you all find whiskey at like really like small prices or like really nice sales, so I'll typically find those at like Costco's and whatnot. Like the two handles I bought were at Costco. When you find bottles like that, do you like instantly buy them or whatnot, or do you usually pass? Because I don't know, with whiskey, us being whiskey nerds, we probably have way too much whiskey as is, but I'm kind of in this weird spot where it's like every time I see like a bottle on sale, I want to just like throw my money at it. But I know like sometimes it's like, oh, hey, maybe you shouldn't just like buy more whiskey when you already have so much whiskey. The Woodford weeded, saw one for next to nothing, wanted hanging. I like the Woodford wheat. I'm not a huge wheat fan, and I like that one. That's one of the better like $30 Woodfords. Gorgat House, then you will Kleinleash and Conch or others like it. Okay. Man, I wish I was a millionaire because I would get seriously into scotch because I really do enjoy scotch. I mean, so recently I was the brand ambassador for the distillery for an event called Whiskeys of the World here in Arizona. And it was an amazing event. So if you're interested in it, it might be coming to your area if you live in a big city. So I would just search like Google search World of Whiskey event. It might be coming to your area. I know they're making kind of the tours, and a lot of the big distilleries are traveling. We're just a small craft distillery, so we kind of stayed here because, well, we don't even have distribution outside of Arizona, so it's not really worth it for us. But we recently did that event, and I really realized I'm kind of an opportunity, or not opportunistic, because that sounds kind of schemy, but I'm a equal opportunity whiskey consumer. Like, I will literally try anything, whether I like your brand, dislike your brand, whether I think I'm not going to like it, or if I am going to like it. Like, I just like to drink any whiskey. So maybe it's not so much that I'm heavily interested in scotch as much as I am just like really interested in trying whiskeys I've yet to try. Ooh, yeah, Teeling finish in rum. I might need to get into that. Yeah, my summer drink so far has been Wild Turkey 101, a little bit of lime, and some tonic water. I got way too heavy into those this last Sunday, and got a little drunk in like the middle of the day because I was kind of having a chill day where we were just relaxing at home, and I got pretty heavy into just some Wild Turkey 101s, some lime juice. Like, I was doing 2 ounces of Wild Turkey 101, an ounce of lime, which I think was a smidge too much. I would probably do 3/4, but I just was a little drunk, so it was working with me. Probably like 3/4, and then probably about 2 ounces of tonic water on just like a cube. Man, that was a nice summer pour because you could still taste that it was like kind of whiskey related drink, but it was just like, it was cold. It was nice. It worked for me. Maybe I'm getting into mixology. I don't know. This is a new thing for me, okay, guys? I'm so used to not having stuff, and I've recently bought some stuff. So now I have stuff to make mixed drinks. My new rule is finish a bottle before I buy a bottle. I probably should do that. And my new rule is just trying not to buy more whiskey. If you don't remember, in the set of scotches I sent, the 2 for you, you did live a Sugar Kitty. Do you mean like, do you that you did like Glencadam? I know I wrote down the bottles you told me, or the bottles I liked from the live stream you sent me, and then I couldn't find them in my area at any of like my local liquor store. So the local ones I went to around my area, and like the 2-3 big Total Wines around my like location that I kind of frequent, I didn't see any of them in any of those, and they have some ridiculous whiskeys there. So if that was one of the ones I said I liked, I wrote those 2 down and I searched for them. So yeah, I don't think they're in my area if they are. So I've officially forgot which one was which. So we're going to nose these. So I want to nose here. I'm going to put these in an order of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, nose, and then palate, and then finish. All right, so I'm going to rank these, each one 1 through 3, whether I like it the best or the worst, nose, palate, finish, so on and so forth. I need to settle down on my whiskey purchases. I also need to be willing to walk out of a store without buying something. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you need to know, like, hey, if you go into the store, you don't have to buy something, because that's something I found myself doing no matter what I would be doing. If I was going into a store, I was leaving with a bottle, whether it was a $25 bottle or a $200 bottle, I was leaving with a bottle. And I've been back for 2 months now, somewhere around there. And I have really toned down my purchasing. I've bought maybe 2 bottles in 2 months, just because I'm going to Japan soon, and probably like less than 6 months. So I'm trying to save up money for that, because that's a super expensive trip. And so I've been toning back a lot of my whiskey purchasing, and I've been saving a lot of money because of it. You don't realize how much money you spend on whiskey till, you look back at it. It was in the sample one way or the other. I don't remember which of the two you decided to look for. Okay. Well, I would assume I'll look again, Sugar Kitty. I mean, again, I'm not really in the position to be paying for any more whiskey, but when I am, Glen Cadam 10, right? We'll look into it. Cheers from Illinois. Nice to see you, man. I have a Tipperary 17-year cash drink. Pretty tasty. That sounds fantastic. Yeah, hanging. You're freaking. You always win all those things. You still haven't came on the live stream that though, man. Nope, I gotta cover like the bottom of these when I do this. Oh shit! So I don't accidentally look at it in the reflection. Oh, man. This is sweet vanilla. A little bit of we'll call it like a white pepper. One thing that'll also be super exciting, kind of comparing similar notes to some younger aged MGPs that are around relatively the same proof, because these are all the 115s, right? Yeah, 115.6, 115, 115 plus some minuscule notes. Man, that's just the best way I could describe MGP bourbon to me nowadays is just like, it's sweet, it's inviting, it has some nice baking spices, nice vanillas. It's just the most balanced, just like bourbony bourbon I can think of nowadays. Like, there's some baking spices, some like white pepper, there's some cherry, there's some oak, there's some vanilla. Like, it's just so freaking enjoyable and or crushable. Like, they just hit hard. Definitely walk out of stores all the time if you're not used to it going once, literally with the specific bird. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you got to train yourself to be willing to say no. It's, what is that, self restraint? Glad I made it. Well, thank you for coming in, Ed Marcus. Nice to see you, man. Okay, so when I come on a live stream, I'll bring a bottle to give away. Hell yeah, hang in. I 100% support this even more now. I support this even more. And no matter what, whether you come on before that or whatever, when we do a get together, you have to come. No excuses, hang in. I don't want to hear it. Hello, world. Nice to see you again. Cheers. It's been a while. We haven't talked for like ever. I like the taste of Smoke Wagon, but don't love the nose. Okay. I could see that. MGP has a new character. I think I could pick it out on a blind. Yeah, MGP, to me, it's super sweet. Super sweet. A little bit of like a honeysuckle on the nose here. Letting it sit. A little bit of I'm getting maybe a white cherry. Like those white Powerades. That cherry you get there. Greetings, everyone. Cheers, the Whiskey Dick. Nice to see you, man. Thank you for coming and hanging out. All right, let's get on to nose 2 here. Ooh, this one's darker. Has more of a like red fruity characteristic. Darker. Oh man. So what I will say, going from nose 1 to 2, 2 has so much more going on in it. Yeah, this is a fruit cocktail. Fruit cocktail, a little bit of a, what is that? It has that same like kind of honeysuckle note in there, but it's almost gotten to a little bit more of a funkier side than it was on 1. On 1, it was a little bit more reserved. On 2, it's more like towards like this funky weird side, but I also like funky weird stuff like that. I don't want to say grinds my gears, but that really gets me started. Is there a smoke wagon that you'd recommend grabbing first? Man, I think the only smoke wagon I could care less about is like the 90 proof version. All the other smoke wagons I think are well worth the money. I haven't tried any of the rye yet. I mean, it's MGP rye. You can't really mess that up. But all their bourbons, like the 100 proof one, freaking great 100 proof bottle. This uncut, the younger, uncut unfiltered are absolutely incredible. I don't actually own one, ironically. I really do need to get one, but you know, saving money, so on and so forth. Smoke wagon is okay, but at $80 in my area is too much. Yeah, and that's where I struggle. I don't really want to buy $80 bourbon, but that's why I really like this one, and this one's really grown on me is because this one's $50 in my area. This is like $47.99 or something like that. You can't beat that. Yeah, so there's one out there for everyone. It's MGP. MGP's MGP, Chief. Yeah, so far on the nose wise, number 2 is a freaking rock star compared to number 1. It has that same kind of peppery baking spice note. That's a very similar note I'm pulling out of all of these. It's that like oak and that peppery baking spice and the vanilla. This one's more baking spice. So number 3 is a bit more baking spice than number 2. Number 2, it's darker, a little bit more nutty, and a little bit more of that fruit cocktail side. I'm going number 2 as my favorite. I'm really liking that one. I enjoy some rare breed tonight. Guess I missed the beginning. Rare breed's fantastic. I have 2 bottles sitting back there, and that's like one of my go-tos. I mean, Wild Turkey is one of my favorite Kentucky bourbons. Have you tried the small batch? Is the small batch the 100 proof one? Because if so, yeah. I've tried all of them. The only one I don't have at the moment, or well, I don't have the 100 proof one and an uncut unfiltered. Yes, yeah. So we're currently comparing the uncut, the younger, with the Doc Swenson's Blender's Cut, and then to kind of spice things up, I put Backbone uncut, unfiltered, or just uncut. Sorry, thinking Smoke Wagon too much. But they're all just basically like $50 MGP bourbons that I think are solid. Sipping on some B Trace. Yeah, Buffalo Trace kind of hits different in the summer than it does the winter. Because for me, I don't really care for Buffalo Trace during the winter unless if it's like a stag or some sort of higher proof variation of that. But during the summer, man, just that 90 proof is like, keep them coming, dude. Shit, put it on ice. I'm in it to win it. All right. So for me, here, let me compare the nose of. There's a nice cherry note I'm pulling out of 3. It's a very like robust, almost black cherry. Yeah, number one, it's just very much so like vanilla and cream with a little bit of berries, but like it's not super exciting or riveting compared to two and three. So one I'm going is third place, two I'm going as first place, and then second place for three. So two and three are very kind of similar, where one seems a little bit off profile compared to the other two, at least on the nose. Small batches, middle, and uncut is at the top. Then they added the younger. Okay, yeah. So I have the straight whiskey. And I like the small batch. I used to own one, but I drink it because, well, I like it. I compared it to the a lot of people got pissed at me for doing this, but the EH Taylor. I think it's a better version of EH Taylor. Sue me. I like MGP better than I do Buffalo Trace. Oh, that is has this hay note. It's like vanilla, custard, and hay. It's sweet. It's easy. A little bit of red fruit there pops up about mid palate. I like it, but I don't love it. It's kind of underwhelming. Going from the nose of these other two, like it's very underwhelming. Beet Trace is another good summer. Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of good summer simpers, blah, 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 blah. The Smoke Wagon, the like 4th of July rendition I have from last year, that's a great summer pour. I haven't touched it in a minute, but maybe I need to get back into it. Again, that's the one that I'm like kind of like iffy about just because there's so many good budget bottles. Do you need a Smoke Wagon as a budget bottle or another different version of a budget MGP? Yeah. Yeah, because I think kind of Smoke Wagon's claim to fame is uncut, unfiltered. Yeah, I see ya. For me, straight whiskey is about $30, small batch 50, uncut. Younger is about 55. Yeah, so that's roughly the same price point I'm at. The younger is a little bit younger for me, and I think the uncut, unfiltered is a little bit, or not younger, cheaper. The younger's cheaper, the uncut, unfiltered's cheaper, and I think the small batch is a little bit cheaper as well. I think the small batch is like 43, the younger is about 50, and I think uncut, unfiltered still like 65, maybe 70, but I haven't bought an uncut, unfiltered in about a year, so it might be at that price point nowadays. Because you know how the whiskey industry be doing itself. Love 100 proofers. Yeah, it's a solid thing, and I think at Total Wines they're like $43. Well worth it, dude. Tried the Rebel Distillers Collection, got serious hay. Ugh. Hey, it's such a weird note because I feel like sometimes you can say it and it means a good kind of endearing note, and then other times you say it and it's like it's not really good. This one on number one, it's kind of like this in between note where it's getting funky, but I also kind of like it. Let's get on to the palette of number two. It's a nutty, fruity oak. The baking spices come really heavy mid palate. I think number two is going to be the winner of this because number two, at least, so like one on the nose was kind of a weak link, and only being 2/3 of the way through the palate round, number one's a weak link. Like I really think whatever's in number one is really standing out as, and this is not as good as the rest. Which I have a feeling that that might be the backbone because the backbone to me was very vanilla custardy, and I was like, this is gonna make a summer barrel proof, but it's not really gonna compare to the rest. Yeah, I know they do their batches kind of weird, where it's like they don't have it explicitly written on the bottle, but they give you like a barrel number or something like that, or like a batch number, and then you have to go take it to a website to figure out what it is. Like, why can't you just write it on the freaking label? Yeah, that's one of the fun things about whiskey is sometimes some of these notes you can say something that sounds horrible, but it really means something that's like positive. And other times you can say the same exact thing and it's negative. And sometimes you can say something that sounds super negative and it means negative things. And it's just like tasting whiskey is such a weird, complicated, subjective thing, and it's hard to put into words sometimes. And that's probably one of the few things I love about it, is because no matter what it is, it's so not challenging, but also challenging to taste and review a whiskey. Because you can never, no matter how hard you try, you can never consider yourself to be an expert, in my opinion, because to be an expert on whiskey is to be an expert in a field that has no real legitimate analytics to consider yourself an expert. But also, like, how do you consider yourself to be an expert in the world of whiskey? Like, you just drink a lot of whiskey. That just sounds like you're an alcoholic. I don't know. Complicated. Oh, man. I like two. Two and or shit, that was three. I like two and three. Again, sorry guys, I did a live stream before this, so I'm a little drunk and kind of, I don't want to say philosophical, but a little bit. All the MGP I have, my prize is an old SAOS 10-year-old single barrel SAOS. Man, what does that stand for? SAOS. Still Austin. Oh, nope, that doesn't make sense. SAOS. I don't know what SAOS stands for. Please read me in. From 2015, my last of three bottles. Yeah, I know old MGP is like fantastic. I just feel like whiskey's kind of, it might be me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the bourbon industry, with it booming, has brought a lot of good things. We're seeing a lot of new brands. We're seeing a lot of different stuff, which I think is fantastic because more typically means better. But with that, we've really seen things kind of lose quality. I think the price of really good bourbon has gone astronomical, and the bourbon that's available for your traditional typical consumer has really just kind of been boiled down to, it's good, but like I'm not jumping out of my sheets for that price. That might also be a little bit of me being kind of a pessimist too, but and I feel like bourbon's kind of on its, at least quality wise, I feel like most of the bourbons that I really love have been dropping down. My other summer favorites are Benchmark Foolproof or Old Grandad 114. I need to buy another foolproof benchmark. I need to give it another swing. Maybe I got a bad bottle because I really thought all Benchmark Foolproof was just super freaking youthy. I thought it was nothing but youth, and some people really love it. On each bottle, I don't think the labels with the date and batch numbers are easy to. Yeah, it'd be like that. Smooth Ambler Old Scout. Oh, yeah, okay, that tracks. S. Troy from Baker Drinks. Nice to see you, man. What is the ABV and ET? The MSRP. Okay. Let me get into the palette of three. Ooh. Three has this nice vanilla custard note that I don't remember getting on two. Hardin's Creek, Clearmont, 17-year-old today, sipping it now. Spicy but good. Oh, that sounds freaking fantastic. I've yet to have any Hardin's Creek stuff, but I know what it isn't that beam juice. And I like a lot of beam. Beam is one of those flavor profiles that has really grown on me. It's one of those flavor profiles that doesn't exist. So, true story, my first Jim Beam bottle, so one of my first single barrel I ever owned, I purchased, and then I went to a friend's house and we opened it up together. I disliked it so much that I then traded bottles with my friend, and then about like 2 months later, he went off to training for the military and had to like liquidate his collection. So I just took all of the collection back. So I took the bottle, I traded for him, and that specific bottle too. And I hated it so much that I traded it to get rid of it. But then me getting it back, I tried it again, and it blew my mind with how fantastic it was. So it's just, Beam is one of those things where I think it takes a lot to grow on you. A lot. Butterscotch Bonamy, didn't get much else. Yeah. I mean, butterscotch is good during the summer, though. Okay. I got to make my decision of what has the better palate. I really like the finish of 3 because it goes baking spicy on me. All right, let's get into the palate. Okay, I can't even. I like 2 completely better on everything. Whatever's in 3 is like a runner up, but I don't even want to consider it a close runner up. Whatever's in glass 2 is a significant winner. So I'm going 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. And I bet even the palate and the finish on this one's probably a joke. I like it. Sweet, easy, simple, approachable, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. We're just going to skip ahead because I'm a little intoxicated from doing 2 live streams and kind of going back and forth on this. One is a clear loser. So I would say 1 is clear, 3rd place, last place. So whatever is in glass 1 is significantly shittier than the rest. And that is whatever's in glass A, which is the Smoke Wagon. Smoke Wagon Uncut the Younger is the shittiest MGP bottle ever. I did not expect that. Oh man, I love it when these things go like this. This is my favorite thing about doing blinds and comparing things, is because you never know where things are going to go. Air thing with that bottle. Could it have been an air thing with that bottle? Oh, here, did I miss one? I was just throwing out a bunch of acronyms to mess with Steven. Hanging around talking to me? Please let me know. We call that a distant second. Yeah. So, turns out A, let me confirm that's an A. Yep. So, glass A, Smoke Wagon, this bad boy, significant 3rd place. Like this one's here while the other ones are like playing up here. Like the other ones are hitting way better than this. Man, I've been really enjoying this bottle. Like I got a sample of that and I enjoyed it so much that I bought a bottle of that. And it turns out it's my least favorite MGP. And I really thought it was going to be this one because I don't really have any like game. I bet this is a freaking winner. That would be my luck. So and then 3 and 2 are kind of here and here. Like they're two is my favorite, but 3 would be a kind of second best, but it's not as good, but it's significantly better than the Smoke Wagon is. So I will take 3 any day of the week. Like 3 is the acceptable amount, and then 2 is like the, oh, that's what perfection looks like, and then 1 is like, that doesn't pass the bar, that does not, pass go, collect $200, all that shit. So without further ado, skipping past what is second place, we're gonna figure out what is the winner of tonight's MGP taste off, and that is Glass C, which is Backbone Bourbon. Huh. Backbone Bourbon. This video literally went so if this is where I thought the video was gonna go, this is where it went. Like this flight. So I did a review of this and I was not blown away by this at all. And I was like, it's a very easy, approachable, sweet MGP, but I didn't compare it to anything else. So I didn't really sit there and divulge kind of where it sits in the MGP world. But comparing it against 2 other MGPs, man, this is a freaking fruit cocktail explosion. Fan-freaking-tastic. That being said, I do know this is a little bit, so full disclosure, the way I thought this is going to go is the, Smoke Wagon and the Doc Swinsons were going to slap the cheeks out of this Backbone. And then I was going to be like, oh, and this Backbone's roughly around $10 more on average. I will be honest, they sent me this. Backbone does not distribute to my area, so I haven't bought this on my own at all in any which way. So I don't actually know how much this costs, but from research, it's about $60 or so. So I was going to be like, oh, well, it's $10 more and it got its cheeks clapped. That being said, man, it freaking destroyed everything else. But good old trusty B, that Doc Swinson's. Doc Swinson's that's pretty freaking solid for $50. So Doc Swinson's beat the Smoke Wagon, but Backbone Bourbon beat both of these. I should have rated this a little bit better in my review because, man, this bottle was pretty freaking solid. I'm so pleasantly surprised. Some bottles need air. Well, all these bottles have been open for a little while. I mean, some are still kind of on their neck pour. The only one that's kind of gone past the neck is Doc Swinson's. Oh, potentially. But also, I'm really liking Knob Creeks now. I mean, you've heard me bring up the Knob Creek 9-year-old single barrels plenty of times in the last few years, especially with the bourbon industry getting as insane as it has. Finding a bourbon like those Knob Creek single barrels that are 9-year-old around that $50-$60 range, that's just reliable, consistent, higher aged, higher proof versions. Man, it's hard not to really love those. Stat wise, they compete, and also flavor profile, they compete. But back then, I just didn't really enjoy that. But yeah, maybe it was that proof that got me into it. And once I got past that and I really drank that whole bottle down and I bought a few more, maybe I'm in it to win it now. Bourbon School in the house. Cheers, man. Nice to freaking see ya. It's been a while. I like the idea of an MGP blind. I think it will try something similar. It will hopefully help me decrease the number of MGP bottles on the shelf. Yeah, this really honestly, dude, I'm right there with you on this one. I was gonna add the only other like non-limited I have or non-single barrel is the Bell Mead MGP one, and I would really like to compare that again in this spin-off of that, just to compare all of those with it, because this might be the king. And before that, this was a shitter in my opinion, but this freaking clapped today. So I don't know. Who the heck knows? Yeah, Smoke Wagon is hard to argue with because they have such great branding, but maybe they're just adequate MGP bottlers. Like the Whiskey Dick said, $80 in his area, not worth it. The Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered, I particularly like, but maybe it's not worth that $75, $80 nowadays. Man, maybe I need to buy a new bottle of that. Backbone, Backbone can sure get some good barrels. Don't sleep on them for sure. Man, now I really want them to distribute to my area because this one's the barrel they sent me, which I thought was just adequate before comparing it. This thing's free. Thank you, Backbone. I love how this live stream ended up being, hey, I was going to compare Smoke Wagon and Doc Swinson's to, hey, this is me re-reviewing Backbone Bourbon and putting a far more positive spin than I did on my original review. No. Again, I'm going about 2.5 hours on, 2 hours on live streaming and probably about 7 drinks deep now, so bear with me. No surprise, Doc Swinson's is the best version of MGP I've ever tried this far. The blender's cut is great. Yeah, so far I've learned that I have greatly devalued this Backbone, and Doc Swinson's is probably the best overall blended MGP that's in my area, which makes sense because I have a literal F ton of single barrel other things from them. They're like one of the few MGP blenders where I will buy anything I see from them. Oh, thank you for doing that, Hanging. Go ahead and subscribe to Bourbon School. I'll be on their channel, I think next week, maybe. I think next week, to talk about the distillery I'm working with. I sent them some samples as well, and I sent them some super weird stuff, which is going to be fun. We got a Backbone pick from ADHD Whiskey a while back. We were not impressed with it off the rip for a few months, and we revisited and turned it. Yeah, and that's where I am with this. They sent me this when I was in Georgia. So I came back from Georgia about a month and a half, 2 months ago, somewhere around there. And this was the first video I did. I reviewed this. This is the first thing I did because it felt easy to do a review right off the rip, going right back into it. And I was like, it's a solid MGP bourbon. It's nothing to write home about. But man, now another drink. So I had one drink in between that. So this has now had about 3 drinks out of it. Maybe not full 1.5 ounce drinks, but about 3 drinks out of it, or 3 rips, if you will. And that's a good bottle. Just found your channel recently. I have some extra bottles that are allocated. I live in West Phoenix. Do you have any advice to sell or trade in my area? Nope, I don't really work in that whole allocated game. But if you want to try some Arizona whiskey, hit me up. But I don't really play in the allocated game, and I ain't buying your whiskey. I had a sample of Costco Blender's Cut. It was very good. Yeah, well, the Blender's Cut is just a normal Blender's Cut. So the Blender's Cut is this same one. I mean, they do a different version every single year. So this is released 2022. But they do a new release every single year. And actually, I posted something about this bottle on the YouTube channel, and they got back to me and they were like, "Hey, that was the idea. This is kind of their the way they described to me in our like DMs was this is supposed to be their budget high proof bottles. So they're high proof bottle that delivers that high proof taste and that high proof intensity without breaking the bank. So it's not as good as those exploratory cast releases they have, but it's also delivering really great quality at a decent price, which I would say it is. Like this, the way this one performed compared to the Smoke Wagon is absolutely insane. Yeah, Backbone is solid. Yeah, I need to kind of roll back my opinions of Backbone. Not that I thought poorly of them, but I was like, they're a good MGP blender, but man, comparatively, that thing freaking slaps. So for an experiment, come back at the blind without having previous drinks might have a. Yeah, no, maybe we'll do this in a month. Maybe we'll do this in a month and kind of revisit. I have some solid MGP bottles, Nashville, Barrico, Redemption, Old Elk, OKI are pretty solid. Yeah, maybe I should also get some other MGP bottles that, maybe I'll reach out to some companies, see if they want to be like, hey, I'm on a mission to find out what's the best MGP blend. Send me your shit. That'd be fun. Now I got a bunch of ideas running through my head. Uncut Unfiltered have been putting out very fruit flavor batches lately. The earlier ones are far more spice and leather. Yeah, and that's the one the one I had previously was very heavy on the baking spice, and I really loved that. I like those spicier, more aggressive flavor profiles. Redemption High Rye might give those a run. Okay. Well, we'll put your words where your mouths are. That's not a real sentence, but I can buy one of those next Tuesday. Yes, hell yeah. We're going live next Tuesday on the Bourbon School to try some whiskey. It's going to be legit. And then I think I'll be live streaming next Thursday on this channel. Wednesday I have a doctor's appointment, so that's not going to happen, but probably next Thursday. We'll see. A pick at a higher proof, like 105, I think. For Redemption Rye? Hang on, do you have any more MGP blends? Like not single barrels, but blends? Because if you do, can I borrow some bottles? I now have a huge live stream idea plan I need to facilitate. Yeah, of course. I thought I had a Costco pick sample from Bob. Maybe it was Blender's Cut. I need to check my notes. Oh, no worries. I have a few solid picks if you want to try those. In my humble opinion, So, have you had adventurous stills? A Redemption High Rye pick we could throw in that blind. Hell yeah, let's make it happen, dude. Here, I'm gonna do, in the spirit of today, I'm gonna do a MGP blend of each one of these. Oh man, that's a lot of whiskey to just be drinking. But yeah, maybe we do like a 10 bottle kind of almost like an MGP. Oh, that's what I want to do. I want to do like a live stream series, if you will, of MGP bracket, like a March Madness, MGP March Madness. So, hey, I'll put this out here. If you have some solid MGP between, we'll call it $50 to $80, and not a single barrel. I want like batch products. So it's like a blend of stuff. Like it's not like just some golden barrel. Hit me up. I would love to get some samples for like a bracket idea or something. Although that might get complicated if it wins too many brackets. But just hit me up. We can probably make something happen. My email's down below in the description, I think. Chris Tig, Backbone, we'll have to try. The Doc Swinsons are really good. The Arkansas Single Barrel Select was better than Blender's Cut. Single Barrel is aged a year older, however. Yeah, so I have 3 single barrels down there that I absolutely love. They're some of my favorite bottlings. The Dachshunds and single barrels. So they're pretty much on par with like the Storytime MGP picks I have. Relatively. I mean, they're very different profiles. Profiles. So the Dachshunds and stuff are just single barrel MGPs, where the Storytime ones are finished. So again, way different profiles, but I think they're both equally really freaking phenomenal. Like I know I was fighting a little bit during the best of 2022 with the 6.5-year-old cognac pick from MGP from Storytime, or what one was it? One of my Doc Swinson single barrel picks, because I was like, man, these are both fantastic. I think the cognac pick won, but they were both really freaking good. And this blend is solid, dude. I guess that's the one thing. Oh, that's good. Oh, that'll play. The one really solid thing about everyone doing MGP is winning this blend. You actually or combining all of this blend together. Like this is actually like a decent pour, because they're all around the same age, same proof point. Like it's just another solid blended MGP. Honestly, this one might be even better because it has a little bit of those lighter flavors coming from the Doc Swinsons and basically the younger versions of the whiskeys compared to, the Backbone bourbon. Yeah, that's freaking good. It's so sweet. Super freaking sweet. I enjoy MGP. I know not a lot of people enjoy it, and a lot of people are kind of like burnt out with MGP, but man, I really do freaking enjoy MGP. All right. That being said, we are at an hour and 2 minutes, and I have been live streaming for, I would say, about two hours or so, and I'm kind of shithoused. So I will kind of wrap this up so I don't get out of my lane too hard. MGP. I really like MGP. If you have any really good MGP that's sub $80 and a higher proof, because if it's not higher proof, if it's sub $80, send an email to me. I would love to see some samples. I'm putting together an MGP bracket that I just thought of during this live stream, so we'll figure it out. That being said, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe to this video, subscribe and follow any of the other fantastic channels that have been on tonight. I appreciate y'all coming in supporting me. Backbone Bourbon is ridiculous. That's a wrap for today's video. Cheers, y'all. We will see you later.